Imagine walking into a room where every person wants to do business with you. Imagine clients chasing you instead of you chasing them. Sounds like a dream, right? But Florence Scovel Shinn, an early 20th century teacher of success, knew a truth most people overlook. Words shape reality. She taught that prosperity isn't luck, it's law. And one of her most famous affirmations for business is this: I am irresistible to my highest good. My good is now irresistible to me. Now let's pause. How many of you have ever felt invisible in business? You send emails, nobody replies. You post online and it feels like shouting into an empty room. You try to sell but people say, I'll think about it. I've been there too. And it hurts. But here's the shift. The moment you align your mind with prosperity, when your words carry conviction, you stop begging for clients. You start attracting them. Think about a magnet. Does a magnet run around chasing paper clips? No. It simply holds its energy, and the paper clips come to it. That's how prosperity works. Florence believed that when you affirm prosperity, you're tuning into a frequency where clients, opportunities, and sales already exist. Let me ask you something. Why do some businesses with average products thrive, while others with excellent products fail? It's not just marketing. It's energy. It's confidence. It's belief. Picture this. You walk into a cafe. Two baristas greet you. One barely looks up, says, "What do you want?" The other smiles, looks you in the eye and says, "Welcome. What can I prepare for you today?" Who do you buy from? Of course, the one radiating warmth. That's what this affirmation does. Makes your presence magnetic. Turns transactions into connections. But here's the secret. Affirmations don't work when they're recited mechanically. They work when you feel them. When you stand tall, speak with conviction and believe, I am irresistible to my good. My good is irresistible to me. History proves this. How did Alexander the Great command loyalty from thousands? How did Thomas Edison keep inventing after hundreds of failures? It wasn't luck. It was unwavering belief in their vision. Now let's bring it to you. What would change if every morning you affirmed prosperity with absolute certainty? If you spoke to clients not from fear of rejection, but from faith in your irresistible value, you'd stop chasing. You'd start attracting. And sales would no longer feel like a battle. They'd feel like flow. So here's my challenge. For the next 21 days, speak this affirmation daily. I am irresistible to my highest good. My good is now irresistible to me. Say it before client calls. Say it before posting online. Say it before walking into a meeting. And watch how the energy shifts. Because prosperity isn't something you chase. Something you allow. And when you allow it, clients will find you, sales will flow, and abundance will feel natural. Thank you. Key takeaways. Prosperity is not luck. It's law, and words shape your reality. Florence Scovel Shinn's affirmation. I am irresistible to my highest good. My good is now irresistible to me. Can magnetize clients and sales. Attraction works like a magnet. You don't chase, you align. Confidence and energy often matter more than product quality. Affirmations only work when spoken with feeling, belief, and conviction. Consistent practice of prosperity affirmations rewires mindset and attracts abundance naturally. When we hear the word prosperity, most people imagine it as something far away, something reserved for a select few, something that comes by chance, by luck, or by being in the right place at the right time. We imagine the successful entrepreneur who seemed to stumble onto the perfect idea, the artist who was discovered by accident, or the sales professional who just got lucky with a big client. And yet, if we pause and look closely, we begin to see a different story. Prosperity is not random. Doesn't roll dice and choose favorites. Prosperity responds to law, the same way gravity does, the same way electricity does, the same way a seed planted in soil grows into a tree if the conditions are right. Florence Scovel Shinn once wrote, "Your word is your wand." Think about that image for a moment. A wand, in every fairy tale, is a tool of creation. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for luck. It directs energy, and what it commands takes form. Now, if words are our wand, then every word we speak, every phrase we repeat, is shaping our reality. The tragedy is that most people don't realize it. They wave their wand unconsciously, saying things like, "Nothing ever works out for me, I can't sell, clients never stick around," and then they wonder why life seems to obey. Imagine a gardener planting seeds but cursing the soil as he does it. "This will never grow. My soil is useless. My garden is cursed." Even if the sun shines and the rain falls, his disbelief poisons the process. That's how words work. They're seeds, but our tone, our belief, our conviction, those are the soil and the water. Prosperity responds not to chance, but to the law of alignment between our thoughts, our words, and our feelings. Think of history. Did luck alone build the Roman Empire? Did luck place the Wright brothers in a bicycle shop where they dreamt of flying machines? Was it luck that led Steve Jobs to revolutionize technology? No. Each of them lived by words, by affirmations, by convictions that shaped their choices and influenced everyone around them. When the Wright brothers said, "It is possible to fly," they were laughed at, ridiculed, and dismissed. And yet, those words carried belief. And belief is a force of law. The law is simple. What you consistently declare with conviction manifests in time, because words create an atmosphere that attracts the resources, the people, and the opportunities needed to fulfill them. I remember speaking with a woman who ran a small bakery. She loved baking, but business was slow. Every day she would sigh and say, "Nobody wants to buy from me. I just can't compete with the big stores." Those were her words. And just like Florence Scovel taught, her words became her world. Customers sensed her heaviness. They felt no joy when they walked in. And so they left. But one day she changed her approach. She began affirming, "My bakery is irresistible. People love what I create. Customers are drawn to me with ease." She repeated it before opening her doors each morning. At first, nothing seemed different, but within weeks, she noticed subtle shifts. A customer told her, "There's just something warm about being here." Another said, "I don't know why, but I crave your bread." The same recipes, the same shelves, but a new atmosphere shaped by new words. That bakery began to thrive, not because of luck, but because she obeyed the law of prosperity. The law works like gravity. Drop a stone from your hand, it falls. Always. Without exception. Gravity doesn't take a day off. In the same way, the law of prosperity responds to the vibration of our words. If we declare lack, lack expands. If we declare abundance, abundance finds its way to us. I want you to reflect for a moment. What words do you speak when you think no one is listening? When you close your laptop after a failed meeting, do you mutter, "I'll never get this right"? When you scroll through social media and see others succeed, do you whisper, "I'm just not cut out for this"? Those words are not harmless. They're instructions to life. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "The subconscious mind has no sense of humor, and people often joke themselves into unhappy experiences." In other words, every word is a seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious. And that soil always brings forth fruit. Let's take an analogy. Picture two salespeople. One walks into a meeting muttering, "They probably won't buy. People never do." His shoulders droop, his tone is hesitant, his words carry doubt. The client senses it and says, "Let me think about it," which is just a polite no. The second salesperson, before stepping in, whispers to himself, "I am irresistible to my good. My good is irresistible to me. Clients love to work with me." He enters with confidence, not arrogance, but calm assurance. His energy is magnetic. The client feels it and leans forward. Which salesperson gets the deal? Not by chance, not by luck, by law. But the law cuts both ways. If you speak failure long enough, it will obey. If you affirm struggle repeatedly, it will manifest. Words are like the steering wheel of a car. Wherever you turn them, your life follows. So when Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Prosperity is not chance, but law," she was reminding us that we are always creating, consciously or unconsciously. The question is not whether the law works. The question is, what are you commanding with your words? I think of the story of Thomas Edison. After countless failed experiments with the light bulb, he could have said, "I can't do this. It's impossible." If those had been his words, the story would have ended. But he said something different. "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Those words shaped his reality. His conviction bent the law in his favor. And because he chose different words, he gave us light. Now picture your own life like a canvas. Every word you speak is a brushstroke. You might be painting a picture of struggle without realizing it, one complaint at a time, one frustrated declaration after another. But you can change the picture instantly by changing the words. Imagine saying, "Opportunities flow to me effortlessly. Clients love my work. Money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways." First, it feels like pretending. But what is faith if not declaring what you cannot yet see? Florence called it the word of power. When you speak it, the atmosphere shifts, and slowly but surely, your outer world rearranges to match your inner declaration. This is why prosperity cannot be left to chance. If it were luck, the same people would not consistently succeed while others consistently struggle. If it were random, the same patterns would not repeat. But they do. 'Cause law is law. And just as surely as gravity pulls the apple to the earth, the words you release draw experiences to your life. Speak poverty and it comes. Speak prosperity and it comes. The law does not choose. It only obeys. Florence Scovel Shinn's affirmation. "I am irresistible to my highest good. My good is now irresistible to me," carries a rhythm that feels almost musical. It rolls off the tongue like a spell, and in a way it is. Because words spoken with conviction don't just sit in the air. They vibrate. They ripple out. They touch everything around you. And when you take this particular affirmation into your life, something profound begins to happen. You start to magnetize the very people, opportunities, and blessings that once felt so far away. Think about the word, irresistible. It's powerful. When you call a dessert irresistible, you mean you can't say no. When someone's laughter is irresistible, you find yourself smiling even if you don't know why. Now imagine declaring that your highest good, your prosperity, your clients, your success, is just as irresistible. Imagine saying that the things meant for you can't help but find their way into your life. That's not wishful thinking. It's a law, and this affirmation is how you step into alignment with it. Let me paint you a picture. A young consultant I once met was struggling. She had talent, skills, and a genuine desire to help people, but clients were scarce. Every meeting ended in polite nods and closed doors. She carried the heaviness of rejection in her voice. One day, she stumbled across Florence's affirmation. It felt strange to her, almost arrogant to say, "I am irresistible to my highest good." But she decided to try. Every morning, standing in front of her bathroom mirror, she whispered it at first, then spoke it louder, letting her shoulders relax, her chest expand, her eyes meet her own reflection with new confidence. She started repeating it before calls, before walking into rooms, before sending emails. And slowly, her energy changed. People could feel it. Instead of chasing, she attracted. Instead of trying to prove her worth, she radiated it. One client told her, "I don't know what it is about you, but I trust you. I want to work with you." That is the affirmation at work. It reminds me of something Florence herself said. There is an invincible power in man's word. Notice she didn't say sometimes, or if you're lucky. She said invincible, meaning it cannot be resisted. When you declare that your good is irresistible, you are aligning yourself with a truth bigger than your doubts. But let's bring this closer to everyday life. Imagine you're at a networking event. Dozens of people, all pitching, all trying to get attention. Most sound the same. They introduce themselves mechanically. "Hi, I do marketing. Hi, I sell insurance." And then someone walks up to you, their energy different. Their presence feels magnetic. They don't push. They don't chase. They simply glow with the belief that they belong in the room. You lean in, you listen, and before you know it, you're intrigued. That person has tapped into the energy of irresistibility. That's what this affirmation trains you to carry. Some people say, "But I don't want to trick myself." Isn't saying something that isn't true just lying? And here's the key. The affirmation isn't a lie. It's a declaration of a deeper truth. It's not about pretending. It's about choosing which reality you will feed. You already know how it feels to say the opposite. How many times have you said, "I'll never make it. Clients don't like me. I'm unlucky." That, too, was an affirmation, and life obeyed it. So why not choose one that serves you? Why not declare that you are irresistible to your highest good and watch how the world bends to that conviction? There's a story of a struggling actor in New York. For years, he faced rejection after rejection. Casting directors barely looked at him. He was broke, humiliated, and ready to quit. But someone gave him Florence's book, and he began using her affirmations. Every night before sleeping he would repeat, "I am irresistible to my highest good. My good is now irresistible to me." He started visualizing roles chasing him, opportunities begging for him. Months later he got a call out of the blue. A director he had met years earlier suddenly remembered him and offered him a role. That role led to another, and soon he was working steadily. Was that luck? No. He had aligned with the law of attraction through the words he consistently planted in his subconscious. Think about the magnet again. A magnet doesn't chase. It doesn't plead with the paperclip to come closer. It simply is what it is, and by being itself it pulls. That's the energy of this affirmation. When you declare, "I am irresistible to my highest good," you're stepping into a state of being where chasing is no longer necessary. Clients begin to feel drawn to you. Sales conversations stop being battles and start being natural flows. It's not manipulation, it's resonance. I remember a man who ran a small clothing shop. His designs were beautiful, but foot traffic was low. He felt invisible. He was on the verge of closing his store when he came across this very affirmation. He was skeptical, but desperation has a way of opening the door to belief. He began affirming daily, sometimes with tears in his eyes, "I am irresistible to my highest good. My good is now irresistible to me." Slowly something shifted. People started wandering into his shop. A blogger noticed his clothes and featured him online. A local celebrity bought one of his jackets and posted about it. Sales doubled, then tripled. The designs hadn't changed, but he had. His words reshaped the atmosphere of his life. Florence's affirmation is not a trick. It's a key. Imagine your good, your clients, your abundance, your opportunities, standing outside a locked door waiting to reach you. The affirmation is the key that opens the door. Without it, your good circles around but can't enter. With it, the door swings open and the flow begins. And here's something important. Notice the words, highest good. It doesn't just say good, it says highest good. That means what comes to you is not random, not mediocre, but aligned with your best, your true path. It ensures that the clients you attract are the right clients, the sales you make are the right sales, the opportunities you receive uplift you instead of draining you. So imagine waking up tomorrow and living with this affirmation. Imagine walking into your work with the inner conviction that you are irresistible to your highest good, and your good cannot resist you. Imagine answering the phone and expecting good news. Imagine opening your email and expecting opportunities. That expectation alone changes everything. Because life, like a mirror, reflects the face you show it. Show life confidence, it reflects abundance. Show life fear, it reflects lack. The affirmation teaches you to show life the face of prosperity. There's no magic formula, no perfect strategy that works without belief. But belief spoken in words becomes magnetic. Florence gave us the words. All we must do is speak them until they shape us, until our presence itself becomes irresistible, until prosperity flows naturally, like a river returning to the sea. Think about a magnet for a moment. A simple piece of metal that, when charged, has the power to pull other objects toward it without moving an inch. The paper clips don't question whether they should come close. The nails don't debate if the magnet is worthy. They are simply drawn, effortlessly, as if some invisible hand insists on it. Now imagine if your business, your career, your very presence operated the same way. Imagine if clients were drawn to you without resistance, as naturally as metal to a magnet. That is what attraction truly means. It is not about running after people, begging for attention, or proving your worth over and over. It is about holding an energy so aligned, so certain, that what you desire cannot help but move toward you. Chasing, on the other hand, is exhausting. Feels like running in circles, always one step behind. You send dozens of proposals and wait for replies that never come. You scroll through social media comparing yourself to competitors who seem to get clients effortlessly. You lower your prices, tweak your offers, and still wonder why people don't notice. That's chasing. Drains you. Makes you feel invisible. And the irony is, the more you chase, the more people run. Just think of human relationships. If someone calls you 20 times a day, begging for your attention, do you feel drawn to them? No. You feel suffocated. But when someone holds their ground, calm and confident, you're intrigued. You want to know what they have that makes them so self-assured. Business works the same way. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this. She taught that prosperity is a law, and when you align with it, you stop chasing and start attracting. Her affirmations weren't just words. They were tools to shift energy. Because when you declare, "I am irresistible to my highest good. My good is now irresistible to me," you're stepping into the role of the magnet. You're no longer the paperclip hoping to be picked up. You're the force that draws. Let me give you a picture. A young man started a small photography business. He loved his craft, but every week he was glued to his phone, sending messages to potential clients, slashing his rates just to get attention. He lived in anxiety, waiting for someone to notice him. Business was slow, and he almost gave up. Then he heard this principle. Stop chasing, start attracting. He began to shift. He no longer begged. He raised his prices instead of lowering them. He started affirming daily. The right clients are drawn to me. They cannot resist my work. Within months, something changed. A popular influencer discovered his photos online and reached out. That led to more exposure, and suddenly he was fully booked. The difference? He stopped trying to force doors open and allowed his energy to pull the right doors toward him. You've seen this principle everywhere without realizing it. Have you ever noticed how some businesses with average products thrive while others with far superior products struggle to survive? It's not always about quality. It's about energy, presence, belief. People feel drawn to confidence. They want to be around those who know their value. Think of Steve Jobs. He didn't just sell computers. He radiated a conviction that his products were revolutionary. That conviction pulled millions toward Apple, creating a tribe of people who lined up outside stores for hours, not because they were chased by ads, but because they were attracted by belief. This is why attraction is more powerful than chasing. Chasing is rooted in fear. Attraction is rooted in certainty. When you chase, your words say, "I need you." When you attract, your energy says, "You need me." Which one do you think clients respond to? Imagine two different shopkeepers. One stands outside his empty store, waving desperately at passers-by, shouting, "Please come in, I'll give you a discount." Most people avoid eye contact and walk faster. The other sits calmly inside, his shop glowing with warmth, his shelves beautifully arranged. He doesn't beg. He simply radiates welcome. People peek in, curious, and soon the shop fills with customers. That's the difference between chasing and attracting. Florence's magnet analogy becomes even clearer when we think of how life itself works. The sun doesn't chase flowers, begging them to bloom. It simply shines, and the flowers turn toward it. Water doesn't beg seeds to grow. It nourishes them naturally, and growth follows. Nature doesn't chase. It attracts. So why should we, as part of nature, operate differently? I knew a woman who worked in real estate. She spent years cold calling, sending messages, and begging people to consider buying homes. It drained her, and she felt resentful. Then she decided to try a new approach. Instead of chasing, she built a calm confidence. She visualized clients finding her. She used the affirmation, "I am irresistible to my highest good. My good is now irresistible to me." Soon referrals began coming in unexpectedly. People would say, "I don't know why, but I felt like you were the right person to call." She became the magnet. The beauty of attraction is that it requires you to be authentic. You don't have to manipulate, exaggerate, or pretend. You simply align your belief with your value and let that belief radiate. It's like a lighthouse. A lighthouse doesn't chase ships, frantically moving across the ocean. Stands firm, shining its light. Ships see it and are guided home. In business, in sales, in life, you are meant to be the lighthouse, not the desperate boat waving flags in the dark. And yes, this takes courage. It feels safer to chase because chasing makes us believe we're at least doing something. Standing still in confidence feels risky. But think about history. Did Martin Luther King Jr. chase people to listen to him? No. He stood on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial and spoke words so powerful that hundreds of thousands leaned in, drawn by his vision. Did Gandhi chase people to join his movement? No. His conviction radiated so strongly that millions followed him willingly. That is the power of attraction. Every time you speak Florence's affirmation, you remind yourself that your role is not to run endlessly after clients and sales, but to hold your ground as the magnet. To believe that your good is looking for you as much as you're looking for it. To trust that what belongs to you cannot pass you by. And when you do, the chasing stops. The fear dissolves. And prosperity begins to flow, not because you begged for it, but because you became irresistible to it. Confidence and energy often matter more than product quality. First, that statement feels strange, almost unfair. After all, we're taught to believe that the best product wins, that if you work hard enough and create something excellent, people will naturally come to you. But the world doesn't always work that way. How many times have you seen someone selling something ordinary and still thriving? How many times have you tasted a dish from a restaurant that wasn't particularly special, yet the place was packed with customers? On the other hand, how many brilliant ideas have died in silence, never recognized, never appreciated, simply because the person behind them lacked the confidence to shine? Florence Scovel Shinn understood that prosperity responds to energy before it responds to logic. People buy with emotion and then they justify with reason. They don't always buy the best. They buy what feels best. They buy what feels alive. And the truth is, confidence is contagious. When you radiate certainty, people feel safe around you. When you radiate doubt, even if your product is excellent, people hesitate. I remember meeting a man who sold handmade furniture. His work was beautiful, carved with precision and care, the kind of furniture that could last a lifetime. But when he spoke to customers, his voice trembled. He would apologize for his prices before they even asked. "I know it's a little expensive," he'd say nervously, "but I promise the wood is good quality." His lack of confidence leaked into every word. And customers, sensing his insecurity, often walked away, not because the furniture wasn't good, but because they didn't feel the assurance they needed to invest. Contrast that with another furniture maker in the same town whose products weren't as durable or artistic, but who stood tall when presenting them. He would say with conviction, "This table will transform your home. Families have gathered around my tables for years, and they become the heart of the household." His energy made people believe. Guess who had more clients? Not the one with the better furniture, but the one with the better confidence. This principle applies everywhere. Think about relationships. Have you ever seen someone who wasn't conventionally attractive but somehow seemed magnetic, irresistible, impossible to ignore? That's energy. It's the way they walk into a room, the way they hold eye contact, the way they laugh without apology. Their confidence makes them shine brighter than others who may be more beautiful but unsure of themselves. Business works the same way. People are drawn to energy long before they analyze quality. Florence's teachings remind us that words, backed with energy, shape reality. So when you walk into a sales meeting and declare within yourself, I am irresistible to my highest good. My good is now irresistible to me. You are carrying energy that no competitor can imitate. You may have the same service, the same pitch, even the same price, but your energy makes the difference. Clients don't just buy your product, they buy your certainty. Think of history. Thomas Edison wasn't the only one experimenting with electric light. Many inventors were working on similar ideas. But Edison's unwavering belief, his confidence in his vision, kept him going after thousands of failures. His energy attracted investors, supporters, and workers who shared his vision. Without that confidence, his ideas might have remained drawings in a notebook. Or consider Henry Ford. When he declared that he would build a car for the masses, people laughed. They said it was impossible. But Ford's confidence created momentum, and that momentum birthed an industry. Neither of these men had the best resources at the start. What they had was conviction, and conviction is a magnet far stronger than perfection. I once knew a young woman who started selling skincare products from her home. At first, she focused only on the product. She spent hours perfecting the formula, adjusting ingredients, and making sure it was the highest quality. But when she approached potential buyers, she spoke timidly, as if apologizing for taking their time. Sales were slow. Then one day she realized she was missing the real ingredient: her own belief. She began practicing affirmations daily, standing in front of her mirror saying, "People love my products. Clients are drawn to me. My work brings beauty and confidence to others." She shifted her posture, lifted her voice, and let her enthusiasm radiate. Within months, she had a loyal base of clients who weren't just buying skincare. They were buying her confidence, her energy, her belief. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, if only I improve my product a little more, then people will notice. Of course, quality matters, but it is not the only factor. You can polish endlessly and still be overlooked if you don't radiate belief. People aren't only looking for the best product. They're looking for someone who makes them feel safe, inspired, and certain in their choice. Confidence does that. Consider the cafe example again. You walk in and see two baristas. One barely looks at you, mutters, "What do you want?" and hands you your drink without eye contact. The coffee might be excellent, but the experience feels cold. Then you go to another cafe where the barista smiles warmly, says, "Welcome. I'm so glad you came in today. What can I prepare for you?" The coffee might not be quite as strong, but the energy is irresistible. Where do you return? Almost everyone chooses the second place, because humans crave connection and assurance more than technical perfection. Florence would often remind her readers that fear and doubt block prosperity, while faith and conviction open the door. Your words, your tone, your posture, all of these transmit either fear or faith. And clients, whether they realize it or not, are tuned into your signal. If you radiate lack, they sense it. If you radiate abundance, they sense that too. There's an old saying, people don't remember what you said, but they remember how you made them feel. That's the essence of this point. Clients may forget your pitch, they may not recall every detail of your product, but they will remember the energy you carried. If your energy made them feel trust, safety, excitement, or inspiration, they will buy. And they will come back again and again. The question then is not only is my product good enough, but is my energy irresistible? Because the truth is, even a brilliant product cannot compensate for a lack of belief, while strong belief can elevate an average product into something extraordinary in the eyes of others. Confidence and energy create atmosphere. They shape perception. And perception, in business and in life, is often stronger than fact. So if you've been pouring all your time into perfecting what you offer but neglecting the way you present it, it may be time to shift. It may be time to affirm daily, I am irresistible to my highest good. My good is now irresistible to me. Not just as words but as an energy you carry. Imagine yourself walking into a room, shoulders back, eyes steady, heart open, radiating belief. Imagine clients leaning in, not because your product is flawless, but because your confidence makes them feel certain it will help them. That is the real currency of success, the invisible ingredient that turns effort into prosperity, and it is available to anyone who dares to believe in their own irresistible energy. Affirmations only work when they are spoken with feeling, belief, and conviction. That is the secret most people miss. You can repeat words 1,000 times like a robot and see no change, but speak them once with your whole heart and the world begins to move. It's not about the number of repetitions. It's about the energy behind them. Florence Scovel Shinn always emphasized this truth. Words alone are not enough, because empty words are like seeds thrown on stone. They cannot take root. But words charged with emotion, with faith, with certainty, sink deep into the subconscious, and the subconscious always obeys. Think for a moment about the difference between someone mumbling, "I love you," while staring at their phone, and someone looking you in the eyes, touching your hand and saying with depth, "I love you." The words are the same, but the feeling makes them worlds apart. One is empty, the other unforgettable. Affirmations work the same way. You can whisper them without emotion and wonder why nothing changes, or you can embody them, declare them with the certainty of someone speaking truth, and watch as life rearranges itself to match your conviction. I once knew a man who was desperate for work. Every day he repeated, "I am successful, am successful, I am successful." But his voice was flat, his heart was heavy, and his mind was filled with images of failure. He told me it felt like he was just lying to himself. And in a way, he was, because he wasn't feeling the truth of those words. He was only going through the motions. Then one day, I asked him to pause and imagine what success would feel like if it were already here. Imagine waking up to a call offering him the perfect job. Imagine the relief, the joy, the gratitude in his body. And while feeling that emotion, I asked him to repeat his affirmation again. This time his whole energy shifted. His voice grew stronger, his eyes lit up, his body stood taller. That's when he understood that affirmations are not about forcing words into the air. They're about planting belief into the soul. Within weeks, opportunities opened that had been closed for months. There's a story about Florence herself, where a woman came to her saying she was repeating prosperity affirmations but nothing was happening. Florence asked her, "When you say them, do you feel the truth of them, or do you feel your doubts louder?" The woman admitted that every time she said, "Money flows to me easily," her mind whispered, "But I'm broke." Florence told her, "You must feel it as if it is already yours. Otherwise, your words are cancelled by your fear." That's the heart of it. Affirmations must be lived in the moment they are spoken. Think of an actor on stage. When they embody a role fully, you forget it's a play. You feel the emotion so strongly that it becomes real to you in that moment. But if they deliver their lines without emotion, the audience feels nothing and the play falls flat. You are the actor of your own life, and your affirmations are your lines. When you speak them with conviction, you perform the role of the prosperous, successful, magnetic version of yourself, and life, like an audience, responds accordingly. Imagine a woman standing in front of her mirror each morning. She says softly, "I am irresistible to my highest good. My good is now irresistible to me." The first day it feels awkward, forced. The second day a little less. By the 10th day, she starts to smile as she says it. By the 30th day, her eyes gleam when she looks at herself. She's no longer reciting, she's claiming. And the world notices. Suddenly people greet her differently. Opportunities appear. Clients say, "There's just something about you." That's the power of conviction. Energy is contagious. If you walk into a room saying, "I am confident," but your voice trembles and your body shrinks, people don't believe you. But if you walk in and declare with certainty, "I am confident," even without words, people feel it. Your affirmation must start inside before it can spread outside. Florence often said, "The subconscious mind takes you at your word." But the subconscious doesn't just hear words, it feels vibration. That vibration comes from belief. Think about historical leaders. Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I have a dream" speech was, in essence, a giant affirmation. But why did it change the world? 'Cause he believed it. He felt it with every fiber of his being. His conviction moved millions. Now imagine if he had whispered those words without passion, reading them mechanically off a paper. The world would not have remembered it. It wasn't the words alone, it was the belief behind them. So often people dismiss affirmations as silly, as if they're just empty phrases. They say, "I tried affirmations and nothing happened." But when you ask them how they said them, you often hear, "Well, I just repeated them while driving without really thinking." That's not an affirmation, that's background noise. The truth is, affirmations are powerful only when you enter into them fully, when you speak as if the universe itself is listening, as if your words are commands and not requests. Let's take a simple example. Say you want to attract more clients. You could repeat lifelessly, "Clients come to me," and feel nothing. Or you could close your eyes, imagine the phone ringing with eager voices, see your inbox filling with inquiries, feel the joy of people saying yes, and then declare out loud, "I am irresistible to my highest good. My good is now irresistible to me." In that moment, your voice carries conviction, your body carries belief, and your words take root. The difference is night and day. A teacher once said to me, "Words are like arrows. Without belief they fall to the ground. With belief they pierce the target every time." That image has stayed with me. Belief is the bow that gives your words power. Without it, the arrows go nowhere. With it, they strike directly into the heart of your subconscious, programming it to create the reality you desire. Think about a singer. When someone sings with technique but no emotion, the song sounds nice but forgettable. But when someone sings with raw conviction, even if their voice cracks, the audience is moved to tears. Affirmations are your song to life. They don't have to be perfect. They have to be real. They have to be filled with the fire of belief. This is why Florence taught that affirmations must be spoken not just with the lips, but with the heart. To speak them mechanically is like painting with invisible ink. No one, not even your own mind, can see it. To speak them with conviction is like painting with bold colors on a canvas so large that no one can ignore it. Life responds to boldness. Life responds to energy. Life responds to conviction. So the next time you say an affirmation, don't just let it slip out like a tired sigh. Tantal. Breathe deeply. Feel the truth of the words as if they are already unfolding in your life. Say it not like a wish but like a command. Say it as Florence would, with faith that cannot be shaken. And watch how those words, now alive with belief, begin to reshape everything around you. There is a strange thing that happens when you speak affirmations with conviction and begin to live as if your good is already yours. Life starts to rearrange itself in ways you could never have planned. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. People you've never met before suddenly appear in your path, carrying the very answers you were seeking. It almost feels supernatural, but it is not magic in the sense of something outside of you. It is the law of alignment in motion. Florence Scovel Shinn often said, "Nothing stands between man and his highest good but his own doubts and fears." When those doubts are dissolved by affirmations of truth, life itself bends to meet you. Think about the last time something happened in your life that felt like perfect timing. Maybe you were thinking about an old friend and they called out of nowhere. Maybe you needed money and just then a payment came through earlier than expected. Maybe you were searching for an idea, and suddenly a book fell into your hands with exactly the words you needed. We often dismiss these moments as coincidences. But are they really? Or are they proof that what you affirm with conviction creates ripples that draw your good toward you? I remember a young woman who wanted to start her own bakery. She had no capital, no investors, and people told her she was foolish for even dreaming of it. But she clung to one affirmation: "I am irresistible to my highest good. My good is now irresistible to me." She would say it while kneading dough in her tiny kitchen, as if the walls themselves were listening. She didn't just recite it, she felt it in her bones. Weeks later, a neighbor tasted her bread and insisted she enter a local food fair. Reluctantly, she did. At the fair, a cafe owner fell in love with her recipes and offered her a partnership. Within months, she had her bakery, something that seemed impossible before. That impossible door swung open because she stayed aligned with her affirmation, even when evidence said otherwise. Life is always responding, but it responds to the vibration you send, not just the words you speak. Imagine affirmations as tuning forks. When you strike them with conviction, they emit a frequency that resonates in the unseen. That frequency begins to attract circumstances and opportunities in harmony with it. If your affirmation is prosperity, life rearranges itself to bring clients, money, and success into your orbit. If your affirmation is love, life moves people into your path who reflect that love back to you. It's not that the affirmation creates the opportunity, it's that it tunes you to notice, to align, and to magnetize what was always waiting for you. There was once a man who lost his job during a recession. He had a family to feed and bills piling up. Every day, he battled the fear of not knowing how he would make it. One night, while reading Florence's book, he came across the affirmation, "Infinite Spirit, open the way for my immediate supply. Let all that is mine by divine right now reach me in great avalanches of abundance." He began repeating it not timidly, but as a declaration. Within days, an old colleague reached out with a freelance opportunity. That opportunity led to another, and soon he had built a business that supported his family better than his previous job ever had. He told me later, "It felt like the universe was waiting for me to finally stop begging and start declaring." His words were not just requests, they were commands wrapped in faith, and life obeyed. Have you noticed how rivers find their way, even around the hardest rocks? Water does not fight, it flows. Your affirmations are the same. When spoken with conviction, they flow toward your highest good, finding paths you could not have strategized yourself. You may think your good can only come from one direction, but life knows 1,000 ways. That is why Florence always encouraged people to release the how and focus on the what. Your job is to affirm the end result with belief. Life's job is to arrange the details. Sometimes the alignment shows up as synchronicity so striking it takes your breath away. I once heard of a man who affirmed daily, "I have the perfect home prepared for me." He imagined the feeling of being inside it, filled with gratitude for it as if it already existed. Months later, while visiting a friend, he passed by a small house for sale that seemed to call to him. He inquired out of curiosity, only to discover that the price had just dropped dramatically due to unusual circumstances. He bought it effortlessly, and when he stepped inside he said, "This is exactly the house I saw in my mind." He didn't go chasing endlessly after listings, panicked and desperate. He affirmed with belief, stayed open, and the house found him. You see, your affirmation is not just a phrase, it is a magnetic command. When charged with emotion, it sends a signal into the unseen. Life, like an orchestra, begins tuning itself to play the symphony you requested. And sometimes, the instruments that join in are people, opportunities, chance meetings, or sudden ideas that appear at just the right moment. But here is the subtle truth. You must act in alignment when the doors open. Affirmations bring opportunities, but you must step forward. That young woman with the bakery could have ignored her neighbor's suggestion. That man with the new business could have dismissed his colleague's offer as too small. That homeowner could have walked past the house without stopping. Affirmations align the path, but your faith must walk it. Florence would often say, "Faith without works is dead." The words prepare the soil, but your action plants the seed. History is filled with people who spoke words of faith long before evidence supported them. Think of explorers setting sail, affirming land was ahead even when the horizon was empty. Think of inventors declaring, "It can be done," while others laughed. They were affirming unseen realities, and because they held to their conviction, life aligned circumstances to make those realities visible. Imagine for a moment that your words are lanterns. Every time you speak an affirmation with conviction, you light a lantern on the path ahead. At first, the path looks dark and endless. But one lantern after another begins to glow, and soon a trail of light appears. Suddenly, you see the road where before there was none. That is what alignment feels like. So when you declare prosperity, when you affirm clients, when you speak success, don't whisper as if hoping someone might hear. Speak as if life itself is leaning in, eager to obey. Feel the alignment already happening, even before you see results. Because results are not the first step, they are the final step. The first step is your conviction. The second is your willingness to believe the unseen is already arranging itself for you. The last is your courage to walk through the doors that open. And when you do, you will realize it was never coincidence. It was alignment all along. And remember, prosperity is not out there. It's already within you, waiting for your words, your faith, and your action to unlock it. If this message spoke to your soul, give this video a like and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to keep feeding your mind with wisdom that turns obstacles into opportunities, hit that subscribe button now. Not because I said so, but because your future deserves it. Now let me ask you, what is the one affirmation you'll begin declaring today? Drop it in the comments below.